Welcome to Faithfully Fierce, where faith meets real life. I'm your host, Faith, and tonight we're unlocking some chains. With me is my friend Quan.
Hey, how you guys doing?
And listen, his story is, it's going to move you. Quan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Tell the people a little about you and why you said yes to today's topic.
I want to first start off by thank you for having me on the Faithfully Fierce podcast. A little bit about myself. I've been through a lot. And I feel like everybody has. But my experience with betrayal, I feel like is, it's relatable, very transparent, and I just want to get my story out there, not only to share with you guys, but for therapeutic reasons, to let go of certain things that I haven't, and just to be a better person, and hopefully sharing my story with you guys. Y'all can learn from it. That's pretty much.
Okay, all right. So, see, Quan ain't just talking about forgiveness. He lived it. Okay, so this is what betrayal looks like in 2025. So tell me a little bit about how you feel with it being 2025. How does betrayal from best friends look like to you? Do you have any stories? Because I know a lot of people that got betrayed by best friends that literally they grew up with all their life. They literally was in a sandbox together, stuff like that. And then soon as a certain time hit, dang, bam. Dang, my husband went with her. Yeah. Like, dang, bam. She took all my money. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, tell me, give me something about, how you feel about betrayal with friends, or share experience that you had.
How I feel about it? I feel as though that betrayal only comes from people you trust and love and people that you let in close. You've never been betrayed by a stranger or anybody that you gave, that you haven't gave, the source to. My experience with betrayal.
We're best friends.
Exactly. We're best friends. We're friends in general. I had a hard upcoming coming up, and I had a friend, who's betrayed me multiple times, and I forgave, and not only because, just to move on and let go of the things that happened, but because I needed them.
But what was the incident?
It's plenty of incidents, and that's what I'm getting into. Simply, all right, here go one example of, experience that I had encountered with the same person. Okay, so coming up, I was homeless, and, I needed a place to live, and I didn't know who to go to. So I had, encountered a friend, told him about my problems. He listened. At least I felt as though he did at the time. He was there. He accepted me with welcome arms, and I felt like that's all I needed at the time. Somebody to accept me. And in the process of all that happening, it was just a lot of weird things going on. Just me being lost in life at that time. I was kind of blind to it, oblivious, I would say. And we had this one situation where he had girls come over, and it was a repetitive thing. He would have girls come over, and he would, kick me out the house or tell me I had to sit outside while, he did his thing with the...
Outside?
Outside in the cold.
How long?
It varied, until he was done,
How did you feel about that, though?
I mean, at the time, I was just, thankful to have a roof over my head. But looking back at it now, it was definitely I felt embarrassed. I didn't really have too much of myself. I didn't have a home. I didn't have clothes. And I had somebody my age telling me what to do. So it was definitely...
Did you feel like he was your friend at that time?
At that time, of course I did. He was the only person that accepted me. So
even after sending you outside?
Yes. Even after sending me outside, it hurted in a moment, but I stomached it and I got through it, and I pushed past it. Maybe it was unhealthy not to talk about it at the time, but yeah, I just moved on. I never really spoke about it. I took it to the chin, and it was what it was.
Do you think he was being selfish?
Definitely.
So do you think in his eyes, he looked at you as a friend in that moment? In that moment in time when he kicked you out for just his own pleasures, do you think he thought that he was a friend?
No. I think that he considered me as a burden. Even though it wasn't, him letting me stay in the basement or, in his vicinity was all he really did for me. He didn't feed me, he didn't do anything like that. But cause I'm pretty sure he considered me as a burden. And it was a whole house. It was a basement, it was a living room, and it was a second floor. Instead of telling me to go anywhere in the house, he told me to go outside. So I definitely he definitely wasn't a friend at that time, or looked at me as a friend.
And how did you deal with that situation?
I took walks. I called people sometimes. Well, who I could call was my brothers. I called them. Ask for their opinion about the situation, or their intake, because I always feel like other people's opinions are their opinions, but I just like to get a different perspective. Because sometimes I could be overly emotional about a situation. Yes.
That must was hard for you to deal with. I can't imagine. Me personally, I know this a godly channel, but something would have been sad.
It was tough. Actually, I would like to tell you about another story with the same person. So I had a girl I was dealing with at the time, and he met her before I did, but he introduced me to her. But I never really knew he had feelings for her. But as time went by, me and the girl, we kicked it. We started feeling each other, and we eventually started kicking it off, and we got into a relationship. So on Thanksgiving Day, it was a surprise to me. I had went out to go see my grandma, and she came to come see me because she knew my situation, and she was there. She knew I didn't really have nobody. And long story short, years later, it went by that it was a story going around that she came over there and they did something. I don't want to,
So my thing is, was he really a best friend, or what was it really?
Like I said at the beginning, it's multiple things that happened, but it's about forgiveness and just moving on, and just becoming a better person. And, people do things just to do things. It ain't really a reason, or just because it's you. Things happen. I don't really hold things against anybody.
So are you still friends with this person?
To this day, no, not at all.
But you forgave him?
Yes, I forgave. And I never told him I forgave him, but internally I forgave him. I just let it go.
And that's the best way to handle it. Yeah. Okay, so that was a lot.
Definitely.
That was a lot.
It is more. It's more.
I might have you on a different episode so we can talk a little bit more about it.
Listen, betrayal you come from all directions. You never know when to expect it.
Yeah. So another key point that we can talk about is how you feel about romantic cheating. Like when you're in a relationship, have you ever been betrayed in a relationship where someone is literally telling you how much they love you, it's feeding all this stuff to you, and then you find out that they cheated? Like, how do that look for you? How is betrayal in that situation looked at from your point of view?
Well, now, it's serious, but I try to look for, I'm not going to say I try to look for, I let it come to me and let it be as genuine as possible. But back then, I was young, naive, and I did my own dirt, so I don't want to just send nobody out like they were the bad person. I did things too, but it's happened multiple times, and I just did my own thing. I never really held it against nobody, or looked at it as betrayal. I looked at it as them, just being young and just living their life, being who they are, just trying to find themselves.
So cheating in a relationship is not betrayal to you? No,
it's definitely a form of betrayal, but it's not. Cheating is not always like a direct thing, It's more so definitely with a female. It's more so of a
Wait, pause. Definitely with a female. Can you please elaborate on that?
I can try. I can try my best.
I mean, it's not like you're not talking to a female, so elaborate on that one, please.
All right. I like to renege on that statement. I definitely like to renege on that statement. I want to say, yeah, for her position. I don't want to say her name. But she was just young and she was lost. You know, she didn't really have guidance, so it wasn't like she cheated out of like ill will. She wanted to find her place in life and who was for her. And she was doing it, and you know, eventually, as time flew by, she did what she did, and I did what I did, and eventually she came back, and we figured that if we would come back in the future, if we ever came back and rekindled what we had, then it was meant to be. So
okay, so it wasn't it was a form of betrayal to you, but it wasn't too much of a big thing.
No, it was never too big of a thing. Now to this day, like I take relationships very serious. You know, I'm selfish. I like to keep things to myself. I like to I don't know. I just treat females different from how I did back then, and I look at relationships different. You know, I respect people, and you know.
So yeah, that's interesting because my intake on like romantic cheating is, I feel like two people is stages. There's a talking stage where you talking.
Yeah.
You talking and dating. Talking and dating stage is you're out there trying to see which person is right for you. So that's opening doors. You know, you got doors open and stuff for you to do whatever, you know, like, oh, I'm talking to this person, I'm talking to that person, I'm dating them. But when you get into a relationship, it gets a little more serious, you know, than just talking. So if you able to get into that commitment of, oh, me and you are in a relationship, I feel like it should just be me and you.
Yeah.
So like anything other than that, outside of that, is like I felt betrayed because as a not just a female, but just me being the person I am. If I'm in a relationship with someone, I'm in a relationship with just that person. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever I'm telling you is genuine. I'm not gonna just tell you I love you, but then be messing with some other people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if somebody's not reciprocating the same energy to me, that hurts. That's a betrayal.
Okay.
You can't do that. And then marriage. Let's get into marriage.
Okay.
When you're married, that's a commitment you make upon God.
Right.
Like you're saying, like, this is who I'm going to be with. To death, yeah, it's a vow that to death do us part.
Right.
So breaking that is just the ultimate betrayal as far as relationship wise. And so I think out of everything, that's one of the top betrayals. Like just all that is just one of the top betrayals that is hard to deal with, especially in society now, where betrayal is people don't care today in society.
Right.
It's just like they're so selfish to the point where I don't care if I'm going to step on your toes. I don't care if I'm going to do this to you. I don't care if you look at me bad. As long as I feel good in this situation, and as long as I'm going to the next level. That's it. There's nothing in between. Back then it wasn't like that.
Right.
It's just this society is crazy.
It is. And I'm glad we're here talking about this. I would just want to make it clear and clarify, you know, if I made it unclear, that cheating is wrong and is definitely a form of betrayal. But the point I was trying to make is, you know, you really never know who somebody is until they get comfortable. And you know, some people like to claim that they're in a relationship without knowing who somebody really is.
Yeah.
You know, then you find out who somebody really is, and then they're not for you. I mean, granted, you know, like I said, cheating is wrong. But you know, some people don't feel like they could pull out of things faster than they got into things. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up a little bit.
But do you think that, like I was saying today, that is just more acceptable to, like, nobody really trying to really be serious?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's trying to be serious, and I want to say it's acceptable. I think that people make it acceptable. You know,
society make it acceptable.
Yeah, society make it acceptable.
Media make it acceptable.
And social media.
People are so manipulated by media. And this world, this society right now is going down in flames. It's not what it was before.
Right. I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
I like it, Quan. I like it.
A little messy, but I like it.
I like it. So, like the last topic we're gonna probably dig into, a key point is like family secrets. Have you ever had a family secret, a backstab, like that you felt was backstabbing? I could like dive in a little bit. Like I had a situation where I was younger, and I believe that I don't know how to say this. Okay. I could just say I believe family members were who they were because it was told to me. Like, oh, this your aunt. This person got the same dad. This person, I believe that because, so to me, that's what life was. Like, oh, this your aunt. Oh, this your. So, but as I grew older, knowing that certain people wasn't actually family, or it kind of felt like, why would you wait till I got older to, Yeah. So I felt like that was like, I felt like that backstabbed me in a sense because I feel like if I was ever in that situation, I'm going to tell, like, if my son or my daughter, I'm going to tell them, like, oh, this is not really your aunt. Oh, this is not really your father. I would let them know, but I would also give them the guidance of how to handle that situation. You get what I'm saying? Give them a choice. Just because you're young, you still have to, I feel like you should still give a child a choice to, like, have that, retain that information. Because when you get older, it's like, dang, like, you could have told me. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I felt in certain situations with growing up in, life. So, like, have you ever had any family secrets that felt like was backstabbing?
Definitely, but I like to, tag along on what you said. It's crazy in the black community that we call everybody our family.
Yes.
But,
cousins, that's not even cousins.
Cousins, that's not even cousins.
Aunts is not even aunts.
Brothers, that's not even brothers. But, yeah, I have. A lot, actually, too. For me, it was more so like, just people talking behind my back, kind of, in a sort of sense, people telling other people about, things that I should do to make myself better, and I felt as though, like, when it came to me, you can't tell anybody about somebody else to, even relate a message to make them better. If you want somebody to listen and to hear you, I feel like, it got to come from the source. You got to tell me, what do you think my problem is? At least give me the chance to sit down and, take the criticism and see how I react to it. I wasn't offered a chance. And even, like, in certain situations of, family coming back to me and, telling me that other family members told me that, people said they didn't believe me and they doubted me, and then, it came back around when I did something that was for me, not for anybody else. People told me that they was proud of me. Even though they, people try to guide me in a different direction. It was a lot. It was a lot. But, I just try to sit back and, I don't know.
Do you still talk to these family members?
Of course. I genuinely love them. I understand that it didn't come from a place of hate or any negative energy. That was just their way of expressing themselves to other people because maybe they was fed up in the moment.
So what did you talk to them about it? Like, how did you, like, I know, like, you could be like, oh, I still love them, but did you overcome that, like, because you felt betrayed? Did you ever get that like reconciliation of like, oh no, I didn't betray you, this what it was, this what it wasn't?
Nah, I never look for it.
But do you think that is healthy?
In certain occasions, definitely when with who you are getting into it, as a person that, I feel like communication is key in general, but like just with somebody you love, and definitely like depending on what type of person you are, like if it bothers you enough, if it bothers you to the point where you feel like you can't continue a relationship, I definitely think it should be spoken about. Most problems be spoken about, but if you you just want to forgive and move on, just let it go. Everything ain't for everybody. You just move on and you remember how you felt and save it for a relatable situation.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. You're a good little guest on
I try to be. This is my first time. You try. Yeah, and I feel like you broke all your. You did your thing. You came down and you came with all the good questions. I actually got a question for you. Actually.
Oh goodness.
I'm about betrayal.
What?
Have you ever had any form of spiritual betrayal?
Oh gosh.
Yep.
Like, you want me to get deep? You want me to get personal?
I want you to get knit.
Okay. Yep. So Okay. So goodness, I wasn't expecting this. Hold on. Yeah. So basically, stop looking at me. So I grew up in the church. Okay. Grew up since I can remember, kid, baby, young. Grew up in the church. So as a kid, you go to church, you believe everything that the pastor telling you. Like, oh, all you gotta do is repent. All you gotta do this, I believed literally everything that I was hearing from the pastor. I'm a kid, so obviously I'm gonna believe everything. So, had an incident with, I was young, real young. A close family member died, young, baby, right? I was with this baby every day. So, like, I had a strong connection with them. Not, let alone that was a family member. It was just, I was with them every day. So, when they died, or when it was in the process of dying, I'm a kid, so, I did everything that I learned in church. Like,
Prayed.
I prayed, got on my knees, went by myself, went upstairs in the room by myself in the dark, got on my knees, prayed to God. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize for everything I'm doing. I'm a kid. We talking about not even a teenager yet, right? So I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a bad person, or I'm thinking like it's my fault. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, God. I would change. I would do, even though I was doing what I needed to do, like in school, I was getting great grades, not sneaking out. I wasn't doing none of that. But I'm thinking like maybe I talk too much. Like sometimes, like I keep going. Like I ask too much questions to adults. That was bad. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, I'll stop doing that. Or I'll stop doing this. Crying, repenting, like saying sorry. Then I'm not good enough, or sorry. Like I was doing all that, and I'm just like, just let this person live, And I'm thinking that's how it works. That's the process of working.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that for like probably like a good like close to like 8 to 10 minutes. And while I'm doing that, I get a call and they said the person died. So like as a kid, my faith, I've been struggling since that day. I've been struggling with my faith as I got older, like throughout me getting older, like in and out of like what's real, what's not real. Like I have the times where I have a great connection with God, like I do, but then it's like it's always backtracked. Stuff just happens that it's just like it brings me back to that time of I don't know what's real or not. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm better now in my faith. Like I'm better now, but I gotta talk about from a kid up until like around college or something like that.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about that, but I want to first start by saying, I'm sorry for your loss, and I'm sorry that you carried that burden for so long. I'm happy to see that you grown from it. But yeah, I wanted to speak on, how did you find faith afterwards, and even, how did this come about? Starting the Faithfully Fairs podcast, and what was your message to the community?
I got to a point. Okay, so when I was in college, I had a family member that
rough years, right?
It wasn't. I mean, it was a lot that I seen, but I didn't indulge in a lot of stuff.
So you never dealt with any betrayal, and
I didn't say I didn't deal with betrayal. I just said I wasn't indulging in a lot that was going on in college. I was literally in the books and stuff.
Okay.
But I definitely seen a lot because I had roommates and stuff. I seen a lot. I was like, whoa, this is not me. Right. But when I was in college, I was away, like from home. Like I went out of state college. I had one family member that is extremely religious and godly. So they're like dealing with a lot of stuff, my issues I was dealing with, like mentally, from that situation of losing faith and stuff like that. That person was able to like guide me in a path that helped me long run as far as getting back into church. I would get back into church, participating in certain, things like curriculums and stuff in church, or, going to Bible study and stuff. So I was more, read my Bible more. I was going to church more. And I feel like that is more of a structural thing. And that helped me as far as structure. And it's times that me and God had connections. I had these connections with him. Like being able to be structured. Because if you blocking out all this society, this world, and you just focus on what need to be focused on, everything else is non-existent.
Right.
So you don't have no, oh, I have an urge to do this. That's wrong.
Right.
Oh, I have an urge to go out. No, because you're focused on the better things, and that helped me as far as. And then I got baptized. When I got older, I got baptized, so it helps with my faith and how I perceive stuff. Like, yes, people go through things, but it's only to better each other. Like each individual, you go through stuff just to strengthen you. You're not going through stuff if you're not strong enough, I feel like. So it's times where I'm like, I can't deal with this. I'm going through it. Like, why this happening? Why? But then it's like, when I overcome that, I realize why I went through it and how it changed me. So that's how that's it. Wait. Oh, wait, you that. I'm supposed to be interviewing you, not you interviewing me.
That's some good questions for you.
No, that was good. But so guys, have you ever got ghosted by someone, or that you loved, or betrayed by anyone? Sometimes it's slow fade. Drop a heart in the chat if you ever been betrayed. We about to go to a break. We'll come right back in a little bit. Thank you.
Hey fam, welcome to the Forgiveness Game. I'm Faith.
And I'm Quan, and we're here to test how forgiving you really are.
We'll share real-life betrayal scenarios, and you get to decide, do they deserve forgiveness or nah?
Stick around, drop your votes in the live chat, and let's see if your heart is soft or stone cold.
All right, here's the first scenario. You've been saving up for months to go on a dream trip. Your best friend, who's been tight on money, says they want to come. You decide to help them out with part of the cost. But then, they cancel last minute. You find out they actually used your money to go on another trip with someone else. And they didn't even tell you. You saw it on their story.
Nah, that's foul, man.
Okay, Quan. Forgiveness time, yes or no?
The number, maybe eventually, but not right away. That's straight up betrayal. They could have been honest. Trust is broken. I'd need time.
All right, y'all. It's your turn. Drop it in the chat. Would you forgive them? Type yes if you would forgive, or no if that's just too far.
Oh, I see a lot of nope. Wait, there's a yes, but I'd never trust them again. That's real.
And remember, forgiveness doesn't always mean instant trust. But holding on to anger, that can chain you up too. Let's keep going.
Hey, and we're back. Quan.
Yo.
Okay, make sure you stay there. All right, I just got a couple questions for you, and seeing, how you feel about the pain and the pressure. Okay?
It's always pressure.
Of course, it's life. What betrayal hit you the hard?
You want to answer now? I'm playing.
Yeah, I didn't want you to answer later.
Right. It was probably when I got kicked off from my mom. I was about 15 years old. She was going through her little things she had before she had got evicted, and she had kicked me out, and that's when my whole journey of living with my friend and that whole process had started.
Why? I'm sorry for cutting you off, but why did she kick you out?
She had a lot of kids. It was a lot going on with her, and then I was real defiant. Like, I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and she had other plans for me.
So you was defiant, and her kick you out was the hardest betrayal that hit you?
Because I was lost. I didn't know, like, I wasn't introduced to the real world. I was always covered by my brothers and my parents. So being 15 and on top of that, she told me I was grown. That's when I got my first tattoo of her name. She had told me I was grown, and I was lost. I was real lost. I felt betrayed. Like, I didn't feel like I had nobody. I wasn't introduced to my family like that. So she was the only person I had. So when she let go, I ain't have nobody.
Yeah, that could, like, a parent, like,
Yeah, at a young age, it'll bother you.
Yeah, when a parent disown you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's okay. Back. Okay. So how did you handle it emotionally?
Emotionally, I broke down. I'm not gonna lie, I broke down. I dropped out of school. I distanced myself. I isolated myself from everybody. Like I didn't talk to my family. I never went outside. I just stayed to myself. I never really spoke of my problem. Stayed to myself.
And you felt like that was the best way to handle it?
Never. I mean, I wish I had somebody to talk to. Looking back at it, I definitely needed support at that time. Yeah, emotional, all types of support, mental. Like I needed support.
And did you ever feel like you wanted to clap back at her?
Clap back at her? No, I think life did that on its own. Like I said, not too long after she got evicted.
So why? Like, like how people are now, they feel like revenge is something that's so common. So why, like, not saying that it's a good thing, but what made you not want to clap back?
For one, that's my mom. I never really want to inflict any emotional damage on her. That's going, have her feel any way I felt. I felt like she was just young and she had a lot of kids. She was lost. And because of that, I became lost. I didn't really have her like I needed her to be. She had 8 other kids to God. So
8?
8. 8 other kids to God.
So 9 together?
7. I apologize. Including me as 8.
Dang, that's a lot to handle.
Yeah.
Like 8 kids, and you said that she wasn't there, like she didn't understand, and
Yeah, no, she had to work a lot, and she was a single mother of 8, including me. So she had to figure it out on her own. Like she wasn't always home.
That's interesting. So, what did you feel God was saying to you during this pain?
Honestly, I felt like, back then I always asked for strength. Like God give me strength and, show me the way. I felt like it was just, that was my testimony, and him just showing me like, like I can get through anything. I learned how to survive, and I learned about myself in the process. I'm going through that whole thing.
What did you learn about yourself?
I learned that I could survive. That I got the skill to just adapt to any situation. Like I've been through a lot, so just realizing like I feel like it's the worst I've ever been through, or it can be worse. I know that I can pull through, and that is only temporary.
That's true. I like that. I love that for you. Love it.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so we talk about forgiveness like it's easy, but let's be real. This stuff hurts.
Yeah, I mean, it's still stuff I hold hold against people to this day. Not like purposely, intentionally, but like I still feel a certain way about situation. Not saying that I treat anybody different because how I feel, but yeah, I still hurt from certain things that people did to me.
That's true, and it's life. That's people. We are humans.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, people in the chat, I have a question. Would you forgive someone who cheated on you and never apologize? Just type yes or no. I'm gonna take a small break, and we'll be back. Thanks.
Next one. You're working on a group project. Major grade, big pressure. You do most of the work. Your teammate slacks off. Then, right before the presentation, they go to the teacher and take full credit. You get marked down.
Yo, that actually happened to me once.
So, Quan, do you forgive this backstabber?
Yeah, eventually. That kind of stuff hurts, but I realized me holding on to it was only making me bitter. I'd confront them, set boundaries, but yeah, I'd forgive.
All right, fam. Second vote time. What do you say? Type forgive if you would let it go, or forget them if you're cutting that person off.
Let's see what the chat says, be honest.
We got a mix. Y'all are divided. But that's what makes this game so real.
Forgiveness is tough, but it's also powerful.
Facts? Thanks for playing the forgiveness game. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments what scenario we should do next time. Facts? Thanks for playing the forgiveness game. Don't forget to like, subscribe, And tell us in the comments what scenario we should do next time.
Hey guys, we're back here, and we still have Quan with us, thank God.
I'm sure.
So today we just gonna talk about a little bit about Jesus and how he was around a bunch of people who betrayed him over and over again, and he still found it in his heart to forgive. Something that's deeply need to be incorporated into the lives of us now in today's society. So first it was Judas. Judas wasn't just some random enemy. He was a close friend. He walked with Jesus for 3 whole years. He ate with him, prayed with him, watched him perform miracles, but he also sold him out for only 30 pieces of silver. How would you feel about that, Quan? You hanging with somebody, you thinking they your ride or die. You went through thick and thin with them. Y'all growing up together. Y'all did Lord. You know how people do Lord, stuff. Then somebody give him a few bands and he snitch on you to the cops.
I know it can't just be me. Like, Jesus is a better man than I am. Imagine doing everything you can for somebody, just open their eyes to a new life, changing their life, which that silver means don't amount to nothing that compared to what Jesus has, showed them as a miracle and everything like that. And, he took it for granted. Yeah, I just can't relate to that. I'd be upset.
As I.
Yeah, it'd be hard to forgive.
But wait, that was one person.
One.
Here's another one.
Cool.
There was Peter. Peter swore he ride or die. You know how I be. But the minute it got dangerous, he denied Jesus. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. He denied who he was and how he. Like, he lied as if he never even known who Jesus was. That's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
To have someone there for you and to tell you that they're going to be there for you. Like, look at me in my eyes. Look at me when I'm talking. You look at me, Quan.
I'm looking at you.
I'm there for you.
Yep.
I'm going to ride and die for you. You trust me. And soon somebody come looking for you. I don't know who you is. Who, Quan who? Quan who? That's crazy. I can't look at somebody in their eyes and tell them that or give them this interpretation of what it would be like if we both were like friends or we was like, I can't give you that and then turn away from you. It's hard. Jesus had to deal with a lot. Then also, the part that wrecks me every time is Jesus knew. He knew that Judas was going to betray him.
Right.
He still washed his feet. He knew Peter would fold, and he still called him to the rock. Because Jesus' forgiveness, it wasn't passive. It wasn't petty, and it wasn't intentional. He didn't wait for the apologies. He didn't hold it over their heads. He forgave while the wounds were still fresh, while the betrayal was still unfolding. So if you're waiting for someone to say sorry before you forgive, remember, Jesus did it, and he did it intentionally. So Chad, have you ever forgiven someone who didn't say sorry? Let me know in the chat.
Shoot,
Just type it all up. You have?
I have.
I have too. I have a lot. And then it got to a point where the forgiveness wasn't good enough for them.
Amen.
When they betrayed me.
Yeah, but let us know in the chat what y'all think.
All right, we'll be back after this little break.
Whew! If y'all still with us, drop a fire emoji in the chat right now. Let me know you're locked in.
Yeah, don't just sit there lurking. Blow up the chat with some fire. Let's go.
Oh, I see you. At Amari Johnson K5, I drop in 5 flames. I see that heart.
At Jay's Relaxation 8414, you've been active all night. We appreciate you.
I'm Marilyn Dabney, 8469. Yes, I saw you in the last video too. Faithful Squad.
Yo, this chat is lit. Y'all make this community feel like family.
And we're just getting started. You thought that was deep? Nah, we're about to go way deeper.
Coming up next, how Jesus handled betrayal and what it means for you, for me, for all of us trying to live like him.
This next part might hit your heart in ways you didn't expect, so stay with us.
Look, betrayal hurts, but the way Jesus faced it, it changed everything. If you've ever felt let down, walked on, abandoned, you need this.
He didn't clap back. He didn't ghost them. He didn't post a rant. He loved anyway. And that kind of love, it's wild. It's powerful. And it's possible for you too. If this message is hitting your soul right now, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Yep. Don't miss what's coming next. We're not just making videos. We're building a movement of healing, grace, and truth.
Stick around. God's not done with your story.
Let's go and get back into this here right now.
Hey guys, back from the break, right?
I'm back again.
So, forgiveness sound good, right? Until it's you who's being betrayed. That's why I want to walk y'all through 5 real steps to help start forgiving, not just with your lips, but with your soul. Number 1, acknowledge the hurt. Stop pretending it didn't break you. Stop minimizing it. They hurt you. They disappointed you. And yes, it's okay to say, they broke me. You can't heal what you won't admit is bleeding.
Fact.
So just acknowledge it. That's step 1. Step 2, stop rehearsing the revenge. We replay that, what I should have said, moment over and over like it's a mixtape. But revenge is a fantasy that keeps you tied to the pain. You're not getting even. You're just staying wounded. God got something better for you than payback. And once you learn that, you'll be able to do step 3, which is pray. I know it's simple. Everybody say it. But when you go into the steps, number 3, praying will help you. Pray even if you're angry. I know. Praying for someone who hurt you feels crazy, right? But hear me. Your prayer doesn't have to be poetic. You could just be real. You could say, like, God, I don't want to forgive them, but I want to be free from this. That's a prayer. He honors. Step 4, let God handle the justice. This one's hard, especially when they're out here living like they did nothing wrong. But the word says, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Trust that he knows what you don't, and his justice is always better than your reaction. And the last step is release. Not forget, but free yourself. Forgiveness isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It's about saying, this will not control me anymore. You're not forgetting. You're just choosing peace over pain and freedom over being stuck. Forgiveness doesn't mean they won. It means you're done bleeding over it. Out of these 5 steps, which one is the hardest for you? Drop the number in the chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5.
I just want to say I love that for you. You said, you know how hard it is to forgive? How hard it is to forgive? And you minimized it and broke it down into 5 easy steps?
There's 5 easy steps too. And it helps with a lot. It helped me through a lot over the years.
Yes. And the most important steps, in my opinion, is 3 and 5. Just praying, let God take control and let God handle it. And 5, just simply letting it go.
Okay. So next, what we gonna do is Quan is gonna share how he walked through every one of these steps in life. You ready, Quan?
I hope so.
Okay, we're listening.
Yeah, because I'm not a perfect person.
Yeah. You in there.
If you could walk me through the steps again, if you don't mind. Step 1 was acknowledge the hurt. Okay. Just knowing when something is wrong, It's about, seeing that, knowing that you physically or emotionally connected to the situation and accepting it for what it is and just, moving forward. Step 2, just stop being revengeful. If you believe in karma, I feel like that's one of the easiest steps. Let God do what he does best. And the situation is going to get handled as best as possible. Step 3, like I said, one of my favorites. Pray even if you're angry. Because most of the situations, definitely with betrayal, these are situations that we have no control over. And the all we got is our prayers. So I'll say pray. Step 4 being, just letting God handle it. And that goes hand in hand with step 3. Just praying and just letting God answer your prayers. Just letting go. Step 5, just letting it go. I'm not asking you to forgive. I'm not asking you to forget, but forgive. And, move on. At least try to.
That's good. You incorporate this in your life?
Yeah, my everyday, at least how the rules, correlate to me.
That's good. I appreciate that. Okay. So, Quan, thank you so much for bringing your truth and your heart.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Family, I pray something we said tonight broke a chain for you. If this message blessed you, send it to someone who needs it. It could really help. Like, subscribe, but most of all, choose freedom over bitterness. Let's end this with a prayer. Can everybody bow your heads? Close your eyes for this quick little prayer. God, for every person watching who's carrying betrayal like a weight, we ask for your healing. Give them strength to forgive like you forgave us. Amen.
Amen.